Joining me now is Mike Olbinski. Look at this video on the screen. Guys, you are looking at the man that shot this video right here. Is this from Oklahoma this week?
Yeah, it's from near
gosh.
that tornado right there is kind of spinning, unfortunately, through the little community of Katy, Oklahoma. Yeah, I was closer to Wynnewood, Oklahoma, but only a few miles away from this.
Right, so there were a couple of tornadoes that touched the ground in Oklahoma just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, there was, and this storm, this tornado went for a little while, like 20 minutes or so, and then it kind of went back up, and then as it crossed I-35, a giant big wedge tornado, like about a mile wide, dropped down and went for a long time as well. And then a third one a little later from a different storm, but it kind of merged with this one. So there were three just in that area that I saw all three of them.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like a wedge tornado.
Yeah.
Typically when you think of tornadoes, you think of the funnel cloud.
Yeah. The wedge ones are like the scary ones because sometimes they're just the cloud base around it, the wall cloud, I guess, where that comes out of is so low that it's almost hugging the ground, so you can't even really see the tornado.
Right.
You just see this whole mass of cloud spinning, and it's very ominous. And I was watching it go by me, and I was like, I hadn't seen the other one, another tornado up close like that one either. But the wedge one was really kind of intense because I knew it was kind of far away, and I could hear it, and the sound was. It sounded like trees were blowing. I thought these trees in front of me were just blowing, and that's what I was hearing, but I could tell it wasn't the trees. It was this giant tornado. It was
Are you
really
ever
spooky.
concerned about your own safety when you're out chasing these
Yeah,
storms?
I mean, I'm concerned. I'm not, like, scared, but I'm concerned. So a lot of people just will get right up close. I mean, I saw a video of a very prominent scientist, storm-chasing engineer who was dropping probes in the way of that wedge tornado, and there's someone else shooting video of him, and he's right by it, and the tornado kind of just goes by, and I'm like, there's no way I'd ever be there. And I have three little kids that are 7, 4, and 2, and I got to get back home, and so I definitely try to stay safe. So I usually stay a good distance away, but I don't know, I think now that I've kind of experienced this one, I can see myself, okay, I can get a little closer and still be okay. And this one wasn't. This even though it looks small, you'd think the wedge tornado would be worse, but I think it was probably only an EF3, and this has just been upgraded to an EF4 because the winds were so intense they wiped houses from their foundation and stuff, and this was a pretty bad one.
So how did you fall into storm chasing? Is it because you live here in the valley and you started with monsoon storms?
Yeah.
Or what's the story?
Well, I mean, if you live here your whole life, which I have, you kind of love the weather because in the summers it's so hot and then we have thunderstorms and they're cool things off and they're kind of fun to look at. So I think when I was a kid, I remember a lightning bolt hitting right behind our house, and I got blinded. I couldn't see anything; it was so close, and I feel like that probably triggered something in my head because a lot of storm
you
chasers.
weren't struck by lightning.
I wasn't struck by lightning, but I was so close that it left. I still remember that moment, looking at it in the backyard and everything. And it must have been 8 or something. So a lot of storm chasers kind of have that same story, like a tornado destroyed their house or something, and you think they'd be scared of it, but they end up wanting to chase them later in life. So. But anyway, so that kind of started, I think that might have been the reason I started, but I did start here where I started going out and trying to shoot lightning. That was my first love, I just love lightning. So I tried to learn how to take pictures of it, and everything has kind of gone from there, where I got better at photography and then storm chasing, and just started chasing more and more and evolved into doing time lapses, and I also do a lot of weddings, which I all started at the same time because I was just getting into photography all at the same time.
What are some tips or tricks when it comes to trying to shoot weather?
I don't know. It's really tough. I feel like I could tell. For me, I feel like when I see a storm, I can look at it and go, this is boring. These clouds are boring. But I could never say why they're boring. I'm just like, this is not so great. But I think definitely, tips that I see, when people are just out taking pictures, is they're standing in front of their house, or they have power lines, or they don't try to maybe try to move into an area with a better composition, or no houses or no power lines, and try to frame it in a nice way.
Right.
Yeah.
We're getting a couple questions from viewers. Oh, bless you. Ale asking a couple questions. What's the closest you've ever been to a tornado? Have you ever seen the eye of a storm? And what are some job requirements to become a storm chaser?
Well, there's no storm chasing
degree.
You can't get it registered, so there's no requirements. You can go out. Anyone can go out and chase.
Right.
Even though they would recommend that you don't do that. If you're kind of an amateur, be careful.
Right.
But as far as how close I was, this tornado right here is the closest I've ever been.
And how far were you?
So this was just a mile maybe or two away.
Okay.
And the closest, I mean, last year I saw a couple, and one of them was like 30 miles away, so it was really small, and it's not exciting. But this was definitely the closest I've been to one, and I could, as it got closer to me, I could, this one especially, I could hear the wind. And then what had never happened to me before, because I hadn't been this close, is as it started going by, all this debris started falling from the sky around me. Like, mostly it was just vegetation, like grass and leaves and I don't know, pieces of trees and twigs were just falling, and it felt like the end of the world or something. Like,
you did not freak out at all in this
No,
moment.
I was actually got my phone to try to take some video of it, because I'm like, this is like, I want to like capture this feeling of what was going on around me at that time, because it was just so surreal. You know that this thing is just ominous, surreal, like almost like I don't want to say apocalyptic, because it was, but it almost felt like this is like the end of the world. This tornado has just shredded this path through trees and vegetation and houses, and as it's going by, all of a sudden all that stuff is falling from the sky. It just felt this was crazy.
Right. So you've obviously chased storms in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right here in Arizona. Where all have you been?
Last year, I chased for 12 total days, and I covered like 10 different states. So anywhere from New Mexico and Texas on the southern end all the way up to Montana and North Dakota.
So how do you decide this? I mean, are you just tracking the forecast?
We're tracking the forecast. It's where it's going to be the next day. I mean, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm no Dave Muncie, but I've gotten to know enough of what I need to look at to figure out where to go. I mean, even this tornado, this day, I looked at the models and saw where there might be some storms, and I got on the storm right when it built up, and I was on it from the very beginning. So I did a really good job that day. Some days don't pan out, but usually it's like you might be in Oklahoma, and then the next day you got to drive to Colorado.
So were you driving to each of these locations?
Yeah, I mean, I left and I was only out for 2 days this trip, but, I left my house on Saturday, or I shot a wedding on Saturday all day, like 10-hour wedding, and then I just drove to Oklahoma all night. I didn't sleep, and I got, to the storms on time that day, and then I slept, and then I was in western Oklahoma that day, and so then I just had to go a little bit further east that day. Sometimes if it's like that, it's real nice, because you can get a good night's sleep and not have to get up early to drive 400 miles somewhere else. But I remember once we woke up in Texas and drove all the way to like Denver, Colorado, and I dropped some friends off, and I kept driving up to Montana for the next day. So
So which state has the most severe storms as far as you've experienced?
As far as I've experienced, I really feel like I've been mostly in like Texas, Oklahoma, like Kansas is where I've experienced them, but they're all over.
Right.
It's just kind of like when I'm out there that time of year, where they happen to be. I've also been Nebraska has good weather. I saw a really good one in South Dakota, but that's the only time I've been there last year.
That whole middle America
Well,
region.
yeah, I mean, like, so
is that what Tornado Alley?
That's Tornado Alley, because you have the Rocky Mountains bordering it on the west,
right?
And then the Gulf of Mexico is what streams all this moisture into that area. So like out here, our dew points are like 25 degrees. If you know anything about dew points and stuff, we're really dry here. But out there, when this day when this tornado happened, the dew points are like 70 degrees. Like, we don't get those so the Gulf sends all this moisture up, and so they get all this moisture, and then they have dry air from the desert that pushes in. So you've got this wall of moisture up against this wall of dry air, and then they'll get disturbances and low pressure systems that come, like all the wind we just had the other day, where the dust storms are like causing accidents and stuff. Those are the low pressure systems that come through here, and then they hit the plains and they cause all this severe weather. So it's kind of funny how something that comes through here ends up going out there, and but that's why they get the tornadoes, because of all these ingredients that come into place where it doesn't really happen anywhere else in the world.
Right.
And out here, it's like people come from Australia, England, and all over to chase our storms every year. I mean, I have good friends from Australia and some guys from England and Italy that I'm excited to see again in a couple weeks, because they're all coming out right now.
So it's like a little storm chasing community.
Oh yeah, well, it's probably not little. It's very like
tight knit.
It's there's some of us that are tight knit.
Okay.
There's also like
some competition.
There's a lot.
Tell me about the drama.
No, there's not.
Could there be a reality show?
There has been a reality show, but not about the drama. Although that one did get pretty dramatic. It got into the drama too much. I think that's probably why it ended up like losing viewership. Because after a while, you're like, I just want to see the storms. But in real life, even sometimes here, like, there's drama between people. There's competition. There's people that are doing it that shouldn't be doing it. People that are
Just because you have a camera doesn't mean you can chase
right.
a storm.
And that's fine. I mean, if you have a camera you want to chase, that's fine. But some people are trying to do things like run tours and they've never even been on it. Like I wouldn't. I have like private tours where I'll bring a couple people with me. But I've been doing it for a while, and some people will want to do it and they don't have any experience. They've never even seen a tornado, but they're like acting like they have. And so anyway, but there's just lots of drama. There's a ton of it, and there's a lot of people. But there's a lot of people I really respect. That are really, mostly I seem to like, the photographers are kind of who I end up connecting with because we're all the same, we're all out there to get beautiful photos.
Right.
Some people are out there just to get, video of a tornado, and they just want to hang underneath the wall cloud where the tornado might come. They'll just be there the whole time. Yeah, they sell it, or that's just what they want to see. That's just their whole passion.
Oh.
For me, it's like, I like to time lapse, so I need to be out of the rain. Otherwise, my lenses are getting wet, so I can't. So all these people, they'll be in the rain and the hail to get a picture of a tornado and video of it. But for me, I need to be kind of clear of that. So we all have like different strategies and stuff. So
we have like this video that you shot. Now I'm
Yep.
gonna compare it to just like our generic
Yeah.
news video.
Well, that's okay.
Because
Mine
it's
was basically the same thing.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean, you can just at least see like the clarity with your video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus.
Yeah, and this one was pretty clear. The problem with this one is like I'm in the rain. There was actually some hail here.
Yeah.
And the sun is behind it, so it's kind of harder to see.
Right.
As I got further south of it, then you could kind of start see a little more detail. And as you get closer to it, I don't know if you have any of the pictures.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna
like.
pull those up next.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I sent him a different one. That's a.
What about this one?
Yeah.
And
I
this
I
one?
just gave Joe some other ones. Maybe he hasn't given to you yet.
I
This
don't-
one is a really good one. The other ones are looks like he did some screen captures with them. But yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I wonder, maybe he's using them for something else later because he grabbed them off it. But yeah, this one you can start seeing. You can see the debris around the cloud there, which is
Right.
it was just incredible to see that stuff spinning
Wow.
around. Oh,
Right here.
yeah, yeah, just amazing.
And then you get these photos, and I mean, I'm assuming there's some touching up involved.
Well, yeah, but this one was just
was
adding
just-
some contrast and trying to. I mean, for the most part, people always wonder that. They think, oh, you just Photoshop that. But most of the time, when your camera takes a picture and you shoot in RAW format,
Right.
it's kind of flat file. Like it doesn't look what you saw. Like what I saw looked more like this than what actually comes out of my camera. So
Right.
I definitely touch it up a little bit with contrast and maybe add a little bit of like vibrance, which is kind of like adding a little more color to it, and clarity and stuff like that. But that's it. I mean, that was what it looked like. So
Wow.
oh, that's the good one. Yeah, that's
Look
the good
at
one.
that.
Yeah, so if you look
That's
at if you
crazy.
compare the one before, this was shot in the same exact location, but I just had a 135 millimeter zoom lens where I was able to kind of just get the tornado part, and then this one's a big wide 16 millimeter lens. And this is what I love though. I mean, like this whole, you can
It's
just
beautiful.
see the structure and how it works, and this whole thing is rotating, and then the middle rotates even more, and then the tornado drops out. Just incredible. Yeah.
Rachel asking, how are you able to focus on getting the shot and still maintain personal safety?
Rachel, it's a lot of practice. The one thing about this tornado is once if you're chasing them and there's no tornado, you're a little bit more nervous because you don't know where it's going to come out. This one, you already see it. It's on the ground. I know where it is, and so I know where I can go to stay safe. So
Right.
I knew from this spot that the freeway I-35 was just less than a quarter mile back the road. So if this got any closer to me, I would just turn around, got to the freeway, and got south. All I would have to do is go like an eighth of a mile and be out of the path. So, but I think it's mostly practice. The more you go out there, the more you're like confident in what you're doing, and just knowing like second nature how much time you have and where your exits are, and But I'm pretty concerned about my safety, so I don't get too close.
Halala, I grew up in Kansas. Even though I was in many tornado warnings, I never actually saw a tornado, thankfully.
Yeah, I had some people tell me that, that you're in Oklahoma. He's like, I lived here my whole life, never seen one. And it seems kind of funny because you
Yeah.
think if you lived out there, everyone must have seen one. But it's actually kind of shows still, like even though they get all the tornadoes, they're not just all the time everywhere. I think it's still something that is kind of rare out there. They don't hit everywhere all the time. They're just
Right.
more, spotty. So, yeah.
Ale asking, I've heard that hail usually falls before a tornado. Is that always true, though?
I don't know if it's always true, but generally, like if you're looking at this picture, the tornado, is where the inflow part of the storm is, where it's pulling
Right
air.
here?
Yeah, the tornado and this whole base is where the air is being pulled into the storm. And so what happens is when it's rotating a supercell, it shoots out over here. Like the precip
here.
is usually coming out the top
Okay.
and falling out in front of the storm. And so
Okay.
usually if you get rain and hail first, that means that the area where a tornado could be might be coming, because that stuff will usually hit you first. But sometimes this tornado, like sometimes this is such a clear view of it, there's no rain or anything falling out of here. But
Right.
sometimes, and this is called like a low precipitation supercell, sometimes there's high precip, which is like this whole base could just be nothing but rain, and a tornado could be inside there and you'd never see it. So but even then probably you're still going to get rain and hail on before it would hit you.
I have a question. What is your favorite storm that you covered? Rachel asking if you've ever covered any of our local dust storms. I assume you have.
Oh yeah, well, if you guys haven't seen, if you guys look back at the July 5th Haboob, that I shot that. So that's the big
Is that on
dust
your
storm.
Facebook page?
If you can go to Vimeo. I don't know if it's on there. So vimeo.com/Mike Olbinski. Yeah. And then click on video. Scroll down to let's see if I have it. No, I don't. So click on videos. Yeah. And then I think scroll down and go to page 6. Yeah. So yeah, so click on that one.
Oh, wow.
If you guys, I don't know if you guys have. I mean, a lot of
I'm
people.
sure
have seen
they
this one.
probably remember,
Yeah.
but I'm going to go ahead and pull this up for the viewers so they
Yeah.
can take another look
Yeah,
at
so
it.
this is what, I mean, I chase all the stuff here. So if you go to my Vimeo page, you'll see everything that I've shot. So I do a lot of photos, but this is a time lapse, and this is the other thing that I love to do, which is time lapse of stuff. But yeah, if you haven't seen this one,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You ever seen this before?
Well,
Maybe.
I moved here a little under 2 years
Oh, okay.
ago, so I
Yeah.
did not experience
You
this.
didn't experience this, yeah. It was crazy. Yeah, it was the best dust storm we've ever had here. So I have like a bunch more on there that are, if you go, yeah, is it up here? So go back one. Let's see if there's, where I hit the back button here. Let me see if there's another good one here. Let's see. Yeah, go scroll down one and go to like page 5, I think. Oh, look, there's my kid. So.
Oh, cute. Paradise Bakery is great.
Yeah, let's see. Where's another good one? I'm trying to figure out. I scroll down again. Maybe go to 4. There should be a good one on. Yeah, so click on that one. That one's pretty good. So this is over the East Valleys from South Mountain. You can probably, yeah. Oh, that's.
wow.
Oh, there's another one there, but that's not the one I want to show you. That's my little intro. But this is one that is that I saw from South Mountain. I got rid of all these like silly intros. It took forever. So this was like a really long one, and even the clip it's really hard to see, especially on this. But there's I can see a helicopter fly up, and then he like zips away. But yeah, this is just a big wall of dust coming right over the East Valley.
Right.
So yeah, I shoot all the stuff here. Dust storms, the lightning. It's awesome. Someone has a difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning.
Yes, and I'm going to.
Thank you, Binya. Is that Binya?
Bina. I
Bina?
think she just put an enye on her name for the fun of it. Bina, amazing photos and time lapses. We'll definitely check out more of your work, Mike.
Thank you.
And Alejo asking, what's the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning?
A tornado watch is basically like, here's a general area where we're worried about tornadoes happening, and then a tornado warning is on an actual storm itself that is very capable of producing a tornado. Then they warn it. And usually that causes like sirens to go off where there's places with sirens and stuff like that. So warning is like immediate danger of this storm, and the watch is more like this general area. If you remember in 2010, northern Arizona had 7 tornadoes in like one morning, and which is very rare. And so, but they had a tornado watch, I believe, for northern Arizona, but there was like 7 tornado warnings because each of the storms got warned. I think, something like that.
Hello, a great segment with Samia. Thank you for sharing. I feel like a lot of people are gaining more weather knowledge as
I
a
hope
result.
so. Good.
Oh my gosh. So how often do you chase storms? I mean, you said 10 to 12 times a year? Is that what you
Well, I chase all summer. So
Okay.
like last summer I chased, I put these films together so I get to count all the days that I do. And so last year I chased the monsoon like 48 days
Oh,
out
wow.
of summer. And it's only like 90 days long or whatever. On the plains last year, though, I chased 12 total days. So I was out for 2 days in April, and then we went on a 10-day chase. And so this year, though, I've already chased like 7 days, probably going out this weekend for 3 or 4 days, and then I have an 11-day where I have some people, like a girl from Kuwait is flying in to drive with us, and another
Wow.
2 people are following us in their car. And so we're doing like a little private tour kind of thing. And so we're out for basically 11 days. So that will end up upping it to about 20-something days, which is what I want to do because, I get all these time-lapse clips of storms, and then I put them together into like a sequence with music and try to create like a story, a little film. And some of my film, Monsoon 2 last year was, and the one before were in film festivals and stuff like that. So it's a really big goal of mine because if they get spread around and people see all that stuff, then a lot of the time-lapse clips people will license for commercials, movies, random things like that. So there's like a whole overall goal, but so the more days I can chase, the better stuff I get. Because I was out on Sunday, I went all the way out there from, on Mother's Day, and my wife's like, go do it. We celebrated Mother's Day on Friday, and she's like, go ahead.
As long as you still celebrated
we did celebrate
it. Acknowledge the day.
We acknowledged it. It was a big deal, but I only got like one good time lapse that whole day. So I drove out there all the way for
How long was the drive?
Oh, it was like 13, 14 hours. When I got home yesterday from east, it was like southeastern Oklahoma, it was like a 16 and a half, Google said 16 and a half hours. And I do it all, and once I'm done and I'm home, then I don't care again. But on the drive, especially when you're trying to get across New Mexico, it feels like it takes forever. But then once I get home and a day or two later, I'm ready to drive back out. Which is crazy.
Crazy. So what months are the best for storm chasing? When is the weather
It starts in probably like late March, early April out there is when it kind of starts a little bit. And so from then till through June, sometimes early July. As it gets further on, it moves further north generally. So like when we started chasing in late May, we were like in Texas and New Mexico. But by the end of it, I was suddenly in Montana, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Colorado. And so later you get in June, it starts being more northern, where the northern plains are where you get that kind of stuff. And then even in July, people go up and chase in Canada because it starts moving all the way up there. So for me, it's great because basically storm season starts like early April, and then the monsoon starts right in June.
Right.
So if I just chase through, June out there on the plains, and then the monsoon starts, and I'm just right here. So basically, for me, it's like April till like the end of September. It's a long time.
Do you chase hurricanes too?
No.
Okay. Is there anything?
No, I don't. People like to chase hurricanes, but there's not. I mean, first off, you're not really chasing a hurricane. You're just getting in its path and letting it hit you because it's gigantic.
Right.
But I think more people want to be there to like video the damage and
the destruction.
The destruction, the whatever the thing is that called one of the water floods. It's called something, but not for me. I'm looking for more picturesque beauty. I'm a photographer,
right.
So a hurricane is just a big mess of rain and wind, and it's not really. But I wouldn't mind. I mean, if I was out there and could experience one, then I would. Like, that would be fun to experience one, especially like in a safe brick building or a parking garage or something. Like, I would love to experience one, but I don't go chase them.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. I was in Hurricane Sandy. You're good.
Yeah,
there's nothing to photograph there.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Damage, unfortunately. Aleja, Mike, you have great storm chasing footage. You just earned yourself a new Twitter follower.
That was a lot of questions to earn a new follower, but I'll take it. Thank you.
Mina, it takes serious commitment to be a storm chaser. I'd love to chase Mother Nature around America.
Definitely.
She's tuning in from the UK.
Yeah, I do a lot of Facebook Live and Periscope and stuff, and there's always people from around the world that come on there, and they love our weather because most places don't get tornadoes and things like that.
So if people want to follow you on Facebook, they can find you there.
Mike Olbinski Photography on Facebook. Basically, if you Google my name, you'll find it everywhere for like Instagram and Twitter and Periscope. 500 pics, Flickr. I mean,
everything.
Unfortunately, not Snapchat though. I mean, I'm on there, but I don't know how to use it. I'm too old for it.
I know Snapchat's great though.
I'm too old.
Really,
I know it's
the
great.
next big thing.
But it seems like really silly.
Well,
but
I think for what you do and the fact that you want this footage to last a long time.
Yeah, it's too snappy.
And it's best to use a proper camera. I'm assuming you're not taking pictures like this on your iPhone.
Well, I do take it with
you are?
Well, I do, but
What?
it's mostly for like
That was the surprise of the interview. I assumed you had a really fancy camera when taking all those photos.
No. I do. I mean,
Okay.
these are all fancy cameras, but I still take pictures with my phone. Like, when I'm out there, I want to tell people what's going on. So, like, this was like a picture with my phone. And I tweeted, I take these pictures and I tweet them out to
they're
people.
pretty good.
And so that your phone does pretty good, but the other one, but I still, like, this is just for fun. I mean, this is for fun to quickly share on Twitter. And sometimes I put them on Instagram because Instagram is so small that it doesn't really look, the quality is kind of hard to determine if it's a real camera or not, sometimes I think. But of course I have.
I was going to say,
I have lots of
like,
cameras,
this is really like.
Oh yeah, this is not a phone shot. This is definitely not a phone shot.
What kind of equipment do you use? I'm sure some photographers out there might want to know.
I shoot on Canon, so I've got, 3 different Canon cameras, 2 5D Mark IIIs and a 5 DSR. And the 5 DSR is a new one, which is 50 megapixels. The other ones are like 22 megapixels. So this is just, it's a big, beefy camera, which is, you can take these photos and it's so sharp that you can crop them way down and it's still like my other cameras. And so it allows me to do a lot of stuff with it. So, but just mostly Canon stuff, yeah.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for answering all our questions. I know you just got back yesterday. I feel like you're going to need some sleep after your long road trip.
I did. Last night, I only all the way home. I only slept 90 minutes in like a Love's parking lot, and then Fox and then another station wanted to do a quick phoner on the way, so I had to like wake up and do that on the way home. And I got home and I didn't get home till like 3:30, and I was like, it's too late to take a nap, so I just stayed up. And my wife went out that night, and I was like, she texted me on her way home, like, I'm getting gas, I'll be home in 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be laying in bed. And I put my head down.
And you were gone.
I was out within seconds because I don't remember her coming home at all, and she was only 5 minutes away. So I was excited. But I'm still, like, kind of tired today. So, but this time of year, I'm always tired.
One last question just popped into my head. Given that you go on all these road trips, do you have any regional food places you have to stop at?
No, well, so I'm like horrible because first off, I don't know what it is, but if I'm out chasing road trip food, but I always just stop at fast food places. I have to have Chick-fil-A.
But like sometimes there's like regional fast food, like when you go to Texas.
Okay.
But I guess you know what it is. Here in Arizona, you have every region's regional fast food.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing about Arizona that
anywhere I go out there, it's all the same stuff. The one thing that we used to not have here was Chick-fil-A, but now we do. So like if I were ever back east or something, there was Chick-fil-A in Memphis and stuff before we had it out here.
Right.
So I love Chick-fil-A, but now we have it.
So you kind of have everything here.
Kind of have everything. But there are places out there.
Well, like Whataburger, I always assumed was just a Texas thing until I moved here.
Yeah.
And I was like, Arizona has it too.
Isn't there some place like called Taco John's, or there's some taco place out there that we don't have that people all rave about? But I don't know, for me when I'm out chasing, especially if I'm with people, like I just want like a steady diet of stuff I know.
So what is it, like McDonald's,
It's McDonald's. It's like if I can find a Chick-fil-A for breakfast, that's what I have to have. Otherwise, McDonald's. I did have Subway. Sometimes Subway's not so great, but I'm like, I need something besides a burger from a fast food place.
Right.
But I'm afraid to like, oh, so we had a great day, let's go out and have like a great like Mexican food dinner in some crazy city, and then next day you're just driving all day, but you're like, oh, I don't feel so good because I shouldn't have eaten that food or whatever.
Right.
And so to me, it's like, I know that this food at least will be good for me. Like
your body can tolerate it.
My body can tolerate it. I don't want, but I wish I did that more because there's a lot of amazing restaurants and stuff, but.
Well, yeah. Maybe you can add that to your list.
Yeah, I could try to do that.
Maybe on the final day, I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Or if we know we're not doing anything the next day, we're just, driving someplace and not actually chasing. But we did that. We, a couple of times ago, I met up with some friends of mine out there, and they were eating at like a bar and grill, and so we went there and had a big burger, and it was delicious, and it was good to hang out with some other people, and we had a great time, and it was fine. So I know I can go other places to eat, but usually, when you chase, you get up and eat breakfast, and sometimes you start driving. If a storm fires up by 1 o'clock or 2, you end up chasing all the afternoon and then into the evening where you don't even eat again until like 11 at night.
Sounds like news reporters in this newsroom sometimes.
Right? Yeah. Well, it's like I was gone for 5 days once chasing. I ate nothing but fast food, and I lost 5 pounds because we only ate twice a day. And so anyway, sometimes
you're on the move.
You're on the move, and it's like when you're done, you want to get to a hotel and you want to go to sleep, and you're like, it's 11 o'clock at night. I don't really feel like I want to go sit and have a long dinner and all that. You just want to like grab something
and pass out.
So that's generally why I end up doing it.
Okay, final viewer question. Since we talked about food, unrelated to storm chasing, what's your go-to beer?
What is it? Right now I love a left-hand milk stout, but I'm really big on porters and stouts right now for probably the last couple of years. I used to drink Kilt Lifter. Used to be my favorite.
Is that your rainy day beer?
Yeah. Used to have I used to like Fat Tire, and then it shifted to Kilt Lifter, and then I tried a porter, like a vanilla porter or something once, and it was like, I don't know, drinking like a thick dark beer is like a really delicious cup of coffee that I don't really like coffee, but I think it's got more flavor and like, I don't know. So anyway, I love stouts, and so Left Hand Milk Stout's like my favorite right now, but I'll drink any kind of porter that's different and delicious. So.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for giving
Yeah.
us so much of your time, answering all the viewer questions, sharing your beautiful pictures. I'm going to go ahead and walk you out. Guys, I'm going to leave you with this lovely photo taken by Mike.